Are you looking to make some money on the side? Well, starting a summer side hustle might be the opportunity that you're looking for. And even though the summer's halfway over, it's still not too late to get started. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how to find the right summer side hustle for you. Let's hop right in. So many times when people are looking to start working on a side hustle, they're like, hey, I'm just gonna find a quick little job where I can make some money, whether that's driving Uber, doing something else in the gig economy, maybe starting a side job, maybe reselling something on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. But I want to challenge you to think through, okay, what is my end goal here when starting this side hustle? Is this just something that I'm looking to do right here, right now for this month, maybe this summer? Or is this something that I want to carry on for maybe multiple summers or multiple years or all around the year? I want you to figure out how can you work this thing into your lifestyle if this is something that you're trying to make more money more often. And as you're doing that, I want you to think through your time versus your reward. I want to make sure you're not working on a job that you're putting a lot of time into and the reward isn't that great. I've talked to several people who have different types of side hustles, and I ask them many questions as far as like, what are they making in their main job versus what are they making in their side hustle? And then I like to weigh it out to see is like, is this really something that's probably worth their time? Because maybe sometimes they just see like, well, hey, I get an extra couple $100s, but I'm like, my thought process is always like, if we're trading time for money, how can we maximize the amount of money we have coming in? I was once talking to someone who was working as a home inspector, but then on the side, since their home inspection business was slow, on the side they were driving Uber, but they were having to do it at nights. And so they were saying, by the time I drive Uber and I needed to rent a car, I drive for like maybe 8 hours and the takeaway is $80. And I know that might be helpful for some, but in this person's situation, the money wasn't really moving the needle. And my thought is like when we're starting a side hustle, we want to find something that can be highly profitable that actually makes sense for our trade-off of time. I think one of the best things you can do when leveraging a side hustle is finding something that flows within what I would like to call your genius zone. I didn't come up with this idea, but the genius zone is an area that you're already naturally talented in. Maybe you're already working in this area. And so I was on the phone with a client earlier this week, and they work as an accountant. And but their side hustle is working at a retail store, and their job as an accountant is worth about $50 an hour, where their job working at the retail store is worth about $18 an hour. But and so I would challenge them. I was like, hey, you're working as an accountant right now during the day. You could actually, this is in your genius zone. This is something that you're expert at, that is something that people need. You could actually leverage these skills in the evenings or on the weekends for another company in your side hustle, and it would probably be a lot more profitable than the money that you're making working at this retail store. And that's what I like to challenge people to think through, when they are starting their own side hustle. Like, what's something that you're already naturally good at? Maybe people are already paying you to do it in your regular job. How can you leverage that on the side? And I think about like, when we're starting a side hustle and we're spending time doing it, it's like, a lot of times we're having to learn and become better. So it's like if we're working on learning and becoming better and doing something that's already in our genius zone, it even takes what we're doing in our day job to another level to help us become better. So like, right now I'm Gabe, I own Steadyworth. We do financial education. So I teach financial education, but also, I have a side hustle that I trade in the stock market. I make YouTube videos. This is part of my side hustle as far as just creating content. I put on workshops, and I'm telling you all of this stuff because everything that I'm doing all flows in an ecosystem that allows me to continue to keep getting better at one thing, which pushes my whole main agenda forward, which is educating people about finances. Whether it's I'm speaking at an event, whether I'm teaching at an event, whether I'm teaching one-on-one. And so this is what I like to encourage people to do. Like, what are the things that you're already doing in your life that you can actually put more, I would say, logs in the fire to make that burn hotter, to make yourself better at that. So where like, you're getting so good at it that it even could allow you to be even more valuable at your day job. Because when we think of side hustles, I feel like so many people think, okay, I'm going to do this quick job, then I'll go to work. But it's like, hey, you know what? The main thing is if you can leverage your main job even more, it makes you more valuable there. So then you're making more money on the side as well when you're leveraging that on the side. I want you to remember that people pay for expert help. So how can you continue to develop your expertise in what it is you do? As I get older, I'm actually, my hair is thinning a bit. And so so it's really hard for me to find a barber who can cut my hair well. And so with the barber that I go to, I pay a lot of money for him to cut my hair. I mean, it's the most expensive haircuts I ever get. Hopefully you like them. But the point being is that he is an expert in cutting hair. So he works with cutting very difficult hair. And I mean, I've tried tons of barbers. And so I feel like, there's something very good about really working on becoming an expert in one thing and then leveraging that out on the side, because it helps you to go deep. And the more you go deep, then the further you can go wide. So here's a few questions that I want you to ask yourself about some skills that you may already have that you may be able to, to see if you're trying to leverage it. A lot of times when people are paying you for something, they're paying you to help them solve a problem. And so here's some things that you can ask is, what problem does the skills that you have, ask yourself, what problems does this solve or desire does it fulfill? It could be solving someone's problem, or it could be helping their desire to maybe get in good shape, maybe learning to cook a meal. Are people already paying for something similar? So if people are already paying for something similar, it's not a hard stretch to think that people would pay you to do the same thing. And so hopefully it's something that already exists. Well, the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun, but that's something asked is, are people paying for something similar? What kind of transformation can I help the person get? When you're starting a side hustle, you want to sell the result. What is the transformation? Where am I taking you to? What is the journey going to lead to? Because that's what people really want. A guy came by here the other day and he wanted to cut my grass. I was like, hey, I already have a person cutting my grass. And then he started telling me, it's like, hey man, the quality is going to be so much better. I do this, I do that. So finally I just gave the guy a try. And you know what? Now he's still cutting my grass. He just texted me before I started shooting this video. He's going to be here this week coming up. And so, we'll constantly be working on selling the transformation or selling the result. Could I teach, create, or offer services around this? And so, there's multiple things. You could be doing something like, you're actually doing a job, like doing a tax return or doing accounting for someone. You could also be teaching it, or you could also be creating something. And so, there's multiple different options. So these are some things when you're thinking about how you can monetize that skill you already have. Would I enjoy doing this even if it were hard or not fun? That's a really important thing, because one thing I can tell you about being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, and I've had side hustles too that aren't related and are related. Generally, my non-related side hustles was back when I was in high school. I was working multiple different jobs and doing things. But the thing is that you want to find something that at least you enjoy somewhat, because it will just look like you're watching paint dry. And the reason why I use that example is that my dad was a painting contractor. And so I used to work doing painting with him. And I did some painting on the side when I was in high school and college. I hated painting. I knew for sure, I was like, I do not want to do this type of work. And so you want to find something that at least you enjoy, because you're doing it in your side time. And I feel like the more you enjoy something, the better effort you're going to put into it, the more you'll be able to learn about it. And also the more you'll be able to sell it, because, also when you're selling a service, people at the end of it, they're really buying you. You've sold them. They believe that you're able to deliver on that product. So, you being passionate about it and being able to communicate it in a way, that really makes a big difference when you're selling a product or when you're selling a service to someone. So as you select a side hustle that's maybe related to a passion or more so in your genius zone, maybe this helps you dig down deeper into learning more and also being able to be more valuable in servicing someone. I think I mentioned this story last week. I have a buddy who works as an attorney, but he also leverages those skills on the side doing legal work for a friend who has a firm. And so, he's able to do legal work in his job, but he's also able to do some on the side. And this is continually sharpening his legal skills all the way around, which is making him more valuable in his current job, but it's also, he's also able to show up on the side and charge a premium for these skills that he's keeping very sharp. And my question is how can you do the same thing? In closing, if you take away just a few things from this video, I just want to highlight them for you. The main thing is that when you are selling a side hustle, you are generally going to be solving a problem for a person. So get very clear on what problem it is you're going to solve, and also get very clear on what it is that you want out of the side hustle, how much money you would like to make, and how much time it's going to take you. And of course, when you first get started out, it might take you a little bit more time as you're perfecting it, but as you get better, you'll be able to just turn it on and keep going. Lastly, if you could do something that's related to the main thing that you're already doing, it will probably end up growing your skills, abilities, and income even in your current job. If you have a question about something finance related, or if you would like to talk to me about your side hustle or run a few questions past me, feel free to use the link below. Let's book a call. Let's hop on a call and talk through it. Also, I have recently seen that as we check the YouTube algorithm, that only 70% of the people who watch our videos are subscribed. So if you've watched this video and you've gotten some value, please subscribe to the video, give us a like. We're trying to get our message of financial education out to the world. We're working to equip young professionals who are passionate about their finances and living within their means with the life that they're excited about right now, also while planning for a great financial future. We're working to equip them with the finance knowledge and tools that they need so that they can be successful. Have a great day, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.